Hello friends, this is Michael Raleigh with the bundle collaboration for the month of June. First I have my card base here, and I also then used this Lost Lagoon and the embossing folder called Soft Waves. And then this gets adhered to my card base. All right. Now today I am using some basic beige and crumb cake and pecan. So it kind of all stays in the neutral tones. We're gonna start with this piece of basic beige here. This little sunshine from the stamp set. And I did a row of suns straight across this piece, and even went a little off the edge there. So I've got this little row of suns. It's gonna go across the top here, but I want it to have a little bit of an angle. So I grab my snips. You could also do this on your paper trimmer. And my angle is different from my original, but I'm gonna go with it. Then I took the pecan ink and I went direct to paper with my ink spot and added just ink on the edges. And you can see I got a little bit extra ink in there. Both of these colors slightly fade after they dry, which I love because they become a little more muted and a little more neutral in color. So I'm gonna add that to my card right here. And then let's put this to the side and then grab the tote. Now I've cut the pieces that I need for the tote, and I'll just lay those out right here. And then I cut two of the other in beige, basic beige, the snail shell and the starfish. And then I was looking for something on my desk that was a little yellow in color to kind of bring that color through. And I really just thought I was going to use a leafy dye, but I ended up finding this seagrass on my desk from Ocean Friends. So I encourage you to kind of go through your stash and look for what you might have that has some texture to it and could be a little embellishment addition to this. So with this tote bag, you can just clip off these pieces right here because you're not going to need them. And then I just gently scored or folded the score lines, as you can see here. And then I again took my ink spot, pecan pie. So my pecan pie, and I again just went direct to paper on those score folds, giving it a little bit of a distressing texture. And again, this is gonna lighten over time. For stamping, this is on a crumb cake paper, and it's like a little book maybe that you might have in your tote bag. And I just thought it would be really fun. This is my daughter. She's actually turning 29, and I love this picture, and I thought it would be fun to have that on the front of the book. And she's also a voracious reader, so I think that's fun. Anyway, pretty peacock, Stampin' Spot, pretty good. And then I just cut down this picture. It's 1.5 by 1 3/8. I encourage you to go through your pictures. It was easy just to find one that I could cut her little face out of and add that to here. Now, one of the things is when it's in the tote bag, it kind of slides down and it's not hidden. And I wanted it to be so that it was above and didn't slide all the way down there. So what I did was I took some of the edge pieces of the dimensionals and I put it how I wanted it. So I like it kind of sticking out like that. And then I just put this edge of dimensional across there, and it's kind of like a stopper for that. So it's not going to go all the way down. One of the things about this die set is there's lots of pieces, and I love how it builds the bag. These are cut together, these two straps and this bottom part. And what I found is just kind of hard to get adhesive on some of these small parts. So I used my adhesive sheets and I backed some of my pecan cardstock here. And now I've got adhesive ready to go with these smaller pieces. So that gets peeled off right here and placed on the bottom of the bag. And then you don't want to use the adhesive sheets here unless you want your whole handle to stick. I learned the hard way. I just want my handle to stick right here and not be stuck to my card. So that is why I did not put adhesive there, but I'm going to just add my tape and seal to my little bag handle on that part right there. Now I've got these pieces. Again, it's got my adhesive sheet on it. And I wanted it to connect with these handles. So I've added this, hopefully you can see, right underneath, and it comes all the way down. And then just take your snips and snip it so it is level with your bottom piece of your bag. I am going to set this aside here, and I'm going to show you how I colored my different elements to kind of also give them more of a distressed or muted tone instead of the starkness. Now, this is way too big for what I need. So what I did was I just took this and trimmed it right here. With the starfish and the seashell, you can see here, I kind of have a two-tone color going on. So I picked up a little bit of the pecan pie ink, and before I go direct to my paper, I like to kind of brush off just to see how dark it's gonna get. So I brush that off, and then I can always add more, but I have enough there that it colors it just fine without getting it too dark. And then I'm just gonna do even the same dip of ink on that seashell there. This is done out of the new color Darling Duckling, but to kind of get this a little more muted, I again, just without dipping too much extra, I might have to, I'm adding just some darker tone to this Darling Duckling. Now, to add additional color, I'm going to take my Lost Lagoon ink spot, give it a little dab off on the side of my paper, and then with this middle part, I just swirled it around and tried to stay darker in the center and lighter out on the side. And then again, using just the ink that I have, if I have enough, I can get a little blue on there. I might add just a tad bit more for a little bit more depth in that color. So here is my card base, and we started with these, and now we're going to put this bag on. Now, I like it so that it's not completely flat on the page. So I'm going to put some adhesive here. I've got this piece here and here, and that looks like a pocket or a bag that you could put something in. So let's add my adhesives. See, I'll lift that up. See how that's still kind of open? But I also have that piece of tape in there. So this goes in and it doesn't fall in, and love that. Okay, it took about 9 inches of my linen thread. I wrapped that around my fingers and just made a little bit of a bow here. It's not really even a bow, it's just string. And I grabbed my glue dots and I added a glue dot into the center there. And then I'm gonna flip that over and add a second glue dot. And one to kind of lay it down on this piece here. And then the top one to add my starfish to it. And then on this part down here, I'm going to use another glue dot. Let's add that little bit of yellow sea grass. And then I've got my seashell here. And look, there we are, the Notes and Totes card with a little picture or a gift card inside the tote. Thank you for watching my video. It's helpful for me if you like it, and subscribe to my channel. Also, I'm going to turn this card into some elements on a scrapbook page. So keep your eye out for that.